This is a video about how to fundamentally change your life. Before we get into things, I just want to briefly share why I'm doing this video, what it means to me, and hopefully what it means to you watching this video. This is the first video I've ever done of just self-development / experiential type content. Normally I've stuck with spiritual content in the past, and this is my big welcome / transitional video into a whole new way of being in a whole new industry. And my goal is to provide 10x, if not 100x more impact and support for you watching if you are indeed wanting to change your life in a positive way. So moving forward, this channel and this video is going to reflect those new principles of helping you every time you watch a video from this channel change your life physically, mentally, and emotionally, and help you to gain more health, more wealth, and better relationships / freedom in your life. Without further ado, let's get into today's subject, which is all about how to fundamentally change your life. Let's get right into it. All right, before we get into the meat of things, if you are new here and you end up liking this content, please do me a favor and hit that like button as well as hit that subscribe button. We'd love to have you as part of the Soul family. It would greatly help to show support for me in this channel as well, so I really do appreciate it. My name is Brandon. I am a coach, I'm a mentor, I'm a spiritual teacher, and I'm a lot of things. But one thing that I have experienced a lot in my life mostly is the element of change. One thing that I've really had to learn and surrender to in my life is that change is inevitable. Change happens to us as humans every single day, every single year, and every single month. And it's something that we have to live with. It's not something that we can just reject or say we don't want to experience this thing change. We just want everything to stay the same. No, change is the most fundamentally important thing to get used to accept, to surrender to, and also to learn how to work with. And that is the main goal of this video, is to show you how to work with the energy and the element of change. More specifically, how to create the element of change in your life on all levels, so you can see actual tangible results towards whatever type of life or whatever type of goals you are looking to accomplish. Let me talk about why we would like to, why this process is important, or what the significance of it is. Many of us would want to have something different in our lives. Okay, we would want something to be changed in a positive way. Whether that's more money, whether that's a better relationship, whether that's better health, better wealth, right? Whether that's being more in alignment with your purpose. Many of us would want something to have to change. And maybe you watching this or listening to this can relate to where you have wanted something to change for a long time, but you're not really sure how to take those steps to actually make it happen. This is where this video comes into play, because if it's anything that I've learned over the last 10 plus years as a coach, as a healer, as a health and wellness professional, it's how to change on a fundamental level so that we can be more effortlessly in alignment physically, mentally, and emotionally with where we want to go. So the problem is that most people don't have the fundamental techniques or knowledge or strategy to be able to navigate them towards the change that they desire. So they may, on a surface level, want or desire something to be different, but then they don't know how to go about actually implementing that change or those changes into their body, okay, into their soul, into their mind, so that reality around them actually changes, right? What I'm going to teach you in this process will actually fundamentally do that if you follow them step by step. Let's go ahead and get right into it. This is going to be a step-by-step fundamental process. So if you do want to take notes or that feels right to you, awesome. Feel free to get a notepad and pen out. Or if not, you just want to soak it in, that's great too. So let's start with the 3 levels of how to create change and where this is going to go. So we have the physical level, the mental level, and of course the emotional level. Okay. Now I equate the physical to the external world, right? The reality that we see around us, the physical universe. Okay. So when I say physical, I'm talking about the literal, the actual, the tangible that we can see, feel, touch, smell, taste, etc. When I talk about mental, that's inside of our minds, the reality, the thoughts, the resistances, and the beliefs that come up on the mental level are how we have trained our mind to see and or react to the world. The good thing about the mental level is that this is highly trainable and highly influenceable. Okay, so this can be a good and bad thing, but we'll get into that later. The third level is the emotional level. And in order for there to be change, actual real change in any of our lives in any certain point, there has to be impact on each of those three levels: physical, mental, and emotional. And the way I define the emotional level is all about your reality of how you feel about the world. Okay, so for instance, it's how and what your beliefs in your mind, the mental level, have come into, okay, or cemented themselves to be deeply on the emotional level. And this looks like something that maybe mentally has been instilled into us for a number of years, or we can call it programmed into us for a number of years, but has been so consistently programmed on the mental level that we've begun to believe it and feel it as a reality for ourselves. So let's get into it. How does this actually work? First, we would want to go into the physical level. Then we're going to go into the mental level. And finally, we're going to hit on the emotional level, which again is attached and within the body. So we're going to talk about each of those levels. Once you hit on all three of those levels, you're going to be on the path to change. You're going to be fundamentally shifting the way you think, the way you feel, and the way you act, okay, in the world, in society. Because it all depends really on what you do and where you go and who you become is an element of how you feel. And how you feel is an element of how you think, okay? And how you think dictates how you then act, okay? So those three things are all into play. That's why we have to go onto each of those three levels in order to create some type of change or to create some type of desired outcome that we'd like to experience in our lives, okay? So if we go through each of the levels, physical, okay, mental, emotional, the first step is physical. The first physical step is to create or to identify what you would like to change or to have some attainable goal. Now, the reason I say attainable is because we have to believe that it's possible on some level. And even if you are someone who maybe doesn't have a lot of experience changing their circumstances or doesn't have a lot of self-confidence, the first step to building that self-confidence and building more trust in yourself is by identifying a small, tiny little thing you'd like to change or go after and accomplishing that thing, no matter how small it is, okay, in a positive way. And the reason we want to do that in the first place is because, every little success that we get, no matter how small, builds our confidence and also builds our momentum into the direction we'd like to go. So it's the hardest place to be is in a place of what I call zero momentum, okay, or zeroness, because 0 times 0 equals 0, 0 times 100 equals 0, 0 times a million equals 0. So when you're in a place of zero or zero momentum, no matter how much help, no matter how much stimulus, no matter how much assistance you may get from the outside world, it's still going to result in zero oftentimes because you yourself are in a place of zeroness or zero momentum, and everything times zero is zero. So what you want to do is you want to get yourself moving at least a little bit to start to generate momentum, because even if we reach, say, level 1 or level 2, at least now the help or the assistance or the gifts from the universe or from wherever, from God, from wherever you receive your help from, is going to take hold in your life, right? Because at least if we're at a level 1 of momentum in ourselves, if we receive $100, for instance, from the universe, right, we can at least have and keep that $100 to ourselves. And the help can actually mean something rather than just go into the waste of nothingness of zeroness. Does that make sense? I know that may not to some of you guys. Let me know in the comments if that's unclear. The best way I can equate it is if you're, let's say you're in a very just down, hopeless, very not productive place. Maybe you feel a little lost, or you feel really depressed, or you're in a place of what I call zeroness, right? Zero momentum. And you get a loan from some company or from a bank for $1,000, right? But because you're in a place of zeroness and you're not really doing or knowing or heading in the direction that's going to be able to do something very productive with that $1,000, that $1,000 is likely going to have to go to maybe, let's say, your bills, let's say food, let's say all these expenses, but it's not really going to help to move you forward even more, because it's just going to go to the pit, essentially, that zero represents in terms of not having momentum. Whereas if you're at a 1 and you are moving in a direction, albeit slowly, and you take that $1,000 in, now maybe perhaps you can, yes, use that $1,000 how you want, but then you can allow that to fuel your momentum in the given direction you're going even a little bit, and that will help to speed up the process. So that's the best way I can equate being in a zero place. Anyways, let's get back to how we would actually go about doing this. So on the physical level, we want to identify and create some tangible goal. So let's just say the goal is, again, around money, or maybe it's around a relationship, or maybe it's around health, right? Those are the 3 main areas that most people are looking for assistance in. So let's just say, again, let's just take the $2,000 example, right? So I want to make $2,000 in at extra in my job or at my business, or I want to find a way to make an extra $2,000 for most people. Okay, so that's the goal. That's the physical, attainable goal. We've set our sights on that, and we've asked ourselves, is this realistic? Do we actually believe maybe if the universe is good and gracious and God is good and we're lucky, if this is possible? And we've said yes, albeit maybe it's a little bit outside of our comfort zone, or maybe it's a little bit risky, or we're still a little bit unsure. It is possible. I believe that it's possible for me in this position. Okay. So once we've identified a tangible goal, and that can be for anything in your life, again, whether it's health related, diet related, relationship, whatever it is. Once we've identified that, now we move to the mental level. Okay. One last thing before we go to the mental level, you want to also identify the benefit of what would happen to your life if you attain that physical goal, right? How would your life change if you actually did accomplish that goal? What would be the pure benefits of accomplishing that? And I want you to actually, know or think about this or identify what this would be. Again, without any of the doubts or anything like that, just go over purely the benefits of what that would give for you. So if we're using the $2,000 example, the benefit might be I'll have extra money to spend on a vacation, or I'll have some extra money to get a new car, right? Or I'll have found a way to create more comfort or sustainability in my life overall. Okay, so we've identified the goal, we've identified the benefits, and we've identified that it's possible for us to go after that goal, or we believe it's possible, maybe, if again, God is good. All right, so the second step to this is the mental level. So the mental level is going to be all about identifying the beliefs and or the resistances. Okay, I call them resistances on the mental level towards actually receiving that $2,000 or receiving in your life whatever that goal is. Okay, this is also around receiving. Okay, so it's your ability to receive that thing into your life. And for those of you guys who are a little bit more woo-woo like I am, you can also identify whatever that thing is that you want to receive as a particular energy, right? Let's just say $2,000 for an example. You can say that $2,000 has a particular energy that right now, because I know I don't have it in my life, that energy maybe is outside of me. So what do I need to do internally in order to feel good about receiving that $2,000? That's another way we can look at it, but we can add that in later as an additional technique. Okay. So on the mental level, now we look at what are the main resistances or belief systems that are keeping me or have kept me from receiving this particular thing in my life. Okay. And what you do around this is you almost imagine or you see yourself attaining the goal that you would like to get, or the place you would like to go, or whatever it is you're looking to accomplish or to change in your life in a positive way. Hopefully it's positive. You imagine yourself actually succeeding in attaining that thing. And in that imaginary scenario, you identify in your mind the negative outcomes or the negative reasons why, the negative associations, words, thoughts, doubts, beliefs that come up in resistance to that. So the beauty around this is everything in the universe, okay, that you could want to attain or to change or to shift, there's a frequency to that, there's an energy to that you, if you don't have it but you want it and it's not in your life, have some subconscious resistance to. or lack of belief around, okay? Which explains why you don't have it in your life, right? Especially if you do want it, you know you want it, but you don't have it yet, there's some mental barrier or belief, most likely, around that thing that's been indoctrinated into you at some point in your life. And we'll get into the emotional stuff in the third part, but just hang with me here on the mental part. So when you imagine that you actually have that thing, what's naturally going to happen if you don't have it but you want it is your mind is going to start to tell you the truth as to how you really feel and what you really think about that thing and you having it. So for instance, let's just play this out around the $2,000 example. So if you or I were to imagine having an extra $2,000 in our bank account or wherever we store money, or right here on the desk, right, in our life right now, what belief might come up around that? Is it there is no other way to gain an extra $2,000 outside of a job, right? And I'm just making up hypothetical scenarios here, maybe some common ones that people might have. Is it that $2,000 is a lot of money, right, for me to have, generally speaking? Is it that $2,000 is I'm not allowed to have that $2,000 because I just don't deserve it, right? Is it that I don't need that $2,000 because I already have all of my basic needs taken care of, therefore there's no reason for me to have extra money? Okay, so as you can see, there's a variety of different possibilities as to why that particular thing is not in your life yet if you do desire it, okay? And your job is simply in this step to figure out why your reason is, what your particular belief is or reason is that you don't have it, okay? Because once you have that, it's going to unlock the secret to attaining that thing in your life. And then we can get into the whole, the law of attraction is half a quarter true, but it's not entirely true because there's this whole process is really the process of manifestation, if you guys are into that. But it's in a more like practical, fundamental way to actually attain it. Okay. So, but you're going to want to keep this mental reason, this mental belief for now. Okay. So put that off to the side. So let's say your reason is that I don't believe I deserve an extra $2,000 because I already have everything else provided for. Therefore, I'd be greedy, right, if I had it. And again, you discover this by imagining you have it and then allowing your mind to tell you like why it's wrong that you have it or why you can't actually have it, right? Because it will naturally come up most of the time. Again, your limiting belief or your resistance to having that thing when you imagine yourself actually having it. Okay. So once you have the resistance, again, what I call the resistance, mental resistance to this thing, the last step is going into the emotional. And the emotional level is where we really look at how we feel, the emotions, the trauma, and really the reality of the situation, the reality of how we feel, or our reality, sorry about the washer, our reality in this situation. Okay. So this is going to be in the body. And so what you can do for this particular part, once you've identified the mental belief, then you go from thinking about or just knowing what that resistance is to actually feeling in your body where that resistance lies, where that fundamental shift in your current reality versus the reality that you'd like to change or to attain, where that lies, where that break, where that disconnect lies. And what you're going to discover is if you actually feel where that disconnect lies from the mental down to the emotional level in your body, if you actually feel where that disconnect lies, you can feel the place in your body where you don't have it, that thing, i.e. the $2,000 or whatever it is you want to change. You can feel where that thing is, and you can work on that area of your body to identify and release stored and trapped emotions, and or to fundamentally shift the way you feel or the way your body reacts or your body's reality, okay, to that thing. Now, I want to break that down a little bit because I know that's a little bit complex for a lot of people, but essentially our body is where the subconscious is held. Most people think the mind holds the subconscious because it's a different level of consciousness. Actually, the subconscious lies in the body itself. That's why trauma is always stored in the body. And when you do deep massage and you do like energy work or things like that, you'll get stored trauma releasing from the body. You'll get movement and shaking, and people will have, flashbacks and things like that, because the body is what remembers. The body is what holds what we call, muscle and fascial memory. Fascia is a tissue inside of the body that stores emotions. So you're really talking to the intelligence in your body. And if this is your first time ever hearing about this concept, believe me, I know it's a little foreign. I was very surprised when I first was undergoing a training around it, but it's fundamentally changed my life and the way I look at how I feel and the way I go after things. So when you identify that belief, I want you to see if you can identify where in your body you feel the disconnect from you having those things. Is it in your lower belly? Is it in your heart here? Is it maybe in your neck and shoulders or in your back? Where is that fundamental disconnect where you feel, when I think about this thing, I feel these emotions? Or if you're not there to the emotions yet, that's okay. I feel tense, or I feel stiff, or I feel pain even for some people in this part of the body. And for many of you, it will be very, very subtle. You're not looking for your body's not going to hold up a flag and say, come look at me, right? Because it's stored, it's subconscious, it's very deep within. It's only after many years of practice that, I've been doing this for 10 plus years, that you're going to be able to easily identify, all right, that's the place in the body, or be able to help someone else do it. But that's another video. So the other thing to know about is the reason why this works is because the internal, right, your internal reality represents the external. And your body and every single one of your cells is literally, it's been shown in science, right, on the microscopic level, it represents the universe. It is the universe inside. The same universe on the inside is the same universe on the outside. Therefore, the internal reality, or your body's reality, is also going to reflect as the outside reality, as the external reality. One example of this, just to kind of ground it down for everyone listening, is, let's say you are upset, okay? And you don't really want to deal with those emotions, but you wake up and you're upset, you're angry. Maybe you had a dream, or maybe your partner triggered something in you, or maybe you just saw something on TV and you didn't really like it and it made you angry for no reason. Well, you wake up the next day, you still have that anger. You didn't really take time to feel it though, so it's kind of just stuck in your body, maybe in the lower area or the lower back, oftentimes for anger, or the sacral, right, the lower belly. And you go throughout your day, and no matter where you go, anything that happens, you just feel more angry, right? Let's say you go to the grocery store and the cashier says something, and you just get angry at her or him. Or let's say someone cuts you off, right, in the road, and you get more angry. And let's say that, at this time your partner makes you pancakes in the morning and you get angry and you don't know why. Well, the reality, and you think, well, everything is just being dumb around me, or everything is just kind of pissing me off today. Why is everything pissing me off? It's not because the external world is pissing you off. It's because your internal reality is pissed off, but you haven't experienced that yet. You haven't felt it. So your external reality is attempting to reflect that to you. Does that make sense? So it's the same thing with beliefs, manifestations, all these things. Is your internal reality is going to accurately, your external reality is going to accurately reflect your internal reality. So again, if you don't have something, or you keep missing out on something, or you haven't received something, it's still because something on the inside believes that you can't, shouldn't, or don't want to receive that thing. Okay. So what you do is you identify, you look for any area in your body where there's a disconnect, and you focus in on that area. All right. So let's just say it's in my lower back or your lower back. You go to that area. You can close your eyes if you want, and you really allow yourself to absorb or receive, right? To be open. This is the key thing, because even in the midst of pain, fear, anger, all the difficult emotions, if you open your body to receive this energy, this emotion, this whatever you want to call it, this experience in your body, and you will feel it, right? What will happen is you will feel it, and then slowly but surely, as you continue to feel it, it will start to go away. And this can be true even for things that have happened 10, 20 years ago. Again, I work with clients quite often, and we go through childhood emotions, right? We go through emotions sometimes when they were a baby. We go through emotions when in their last relationship, right? And they're able to release these emotions from those stuck traumas that they didn't want or didn't get a chance to look at because maybe they didn't know how or no one facilitated it for them. All right. So once you get a chance to look at, because remember, the mental is identifying what's the resistance. Then you feel where that resistance is in your body. Once you feel where that resistance is in your body, you can feel the stuck emotions. You can identify the trauma, and you can identify the reality that your body is telling you is real. Let's just say you go in, let's just say lower back, and the lower back essentially tells you, or you feel that your back is telling you in a way, okay, you're going to learn to communicate with your body in this process, that you don't deserve it because of guilt, okay? Let's just say that you feel guilty, therefore you don't deserve this particular thing. Or I don't deserve this because I am a fraud, I am guilty, I am, right? Whatever the case is. Even from, let's say, for those of you guys who are woo-woo, past lives, this can be true in any particular area of the body. So your job is to go in to identify where that particular trauma is in your body and to do the transmutation process, which essentially involves receiving that emotion, breathing into it, and then releasing it, okay? Now, that's a whole nother video. That's perhaps on one of my courses you guys can take coming up soon. But that's essentially the step-by-step process to changing something in your life, okay? I'm going to give you just 3 quick ways on how to actually change it so you can get the full picture here. Even those videos going a little longer than I wanted, there's the 3 steps. So number 1 is you can, as you're closing your eyes, speak to the former version of yourself when and where that trauma happened. So let's say that it was a car accident that you were in, or it was a breakup that you were involved in, or something along those lines. You can go back to that former version of yourself, and you can speak to that version of yourself, again, in your mind and also in your body. And you can send that version of yourself love, forgiveness, guidance, strength, confidence, whatever it is you need to give that version so that they can identify and release those emotions. So essentially you're going back in time in a way, and you're healing that former version of yourself so that both of you, meaning your present and your former self, again, in your mind and in your body, can release the thing that's causing you to believe that. Also, it can go deeper than that. It can go when you were a child, maybe your mom or your dad didn't give you enough, food or candy that you wanted, just as a random example, and that caused you to believe you weren't worthy of extra food, right? So you can go back to that version of you as a child, and you can say, it's okay, just because they don't want to give you candy doesn't mean you're not worthy of more food. It just means that they want to keep you healthy. And so that's what you want to take with you. And so you'll feel that as you go through that process. You will actually feel this in your body, but let me know if you have questions in the comments. Number 2 is to release the stored emotions from that. So essentially you can, sometimes you'll come across a memory, sometimes you'll just come across the feelings, the stiffness, right? And oftentimes there'll be a dominant emotion, okay, that is attached to that belief or to that reality. So again, let's take it to the candy example that I said about inner child and parents. So the belief or the reality that my inner child, or in this example's inner child, would have taken is that I'm not worthy of having extra food because so-and-so, right? I'm just not a good person, or whatever that belief was. Those emotions are going to be shame, they're going to be sadness, they're going to be guilt, they're going to be, like a lot of heaviness there, right? Generally speaking. So you can go back and feel those particular emotions, or allow your body to bring up those emotions, feel them fully, right? Process them, and then allow them to, as you feel them, release from your body so you don't feel them anymore, right? And you can actually tangibly do this within your own body anytime at all. Number 3 is to actually, and this is for some people that like myself, like we like to, I like to like look at it from afar, almost from a detached perspective, and to actually command or to say, it's time to release, or I release this particular emotion here and now, or I release this fear, I release here and now this guilt or this shame from this particular period of time, and I surrender to my own unconditional love, or I surrender to unconditional love. That's the other thing. Some people call them incantations. Other people call it, spells, things like that. I just like to call it positive incantations. All right. So those are the 3 ways to actually go about fundamentally changing it. I think my camera battery is about to die here, so I better wrap it up. The last note I'll share with all of you is that if you like this and you want more content like this, definitely let me know in the comments below. This is totally brand new for me to go into all the subject matter that I've been practicing for a number of years, but I do believe it's the next step to both my purpose and also hopefully providing positive knowledge and impact for you guys. Last thing I'll say is, it's important to recognize with all of this that everything I've said with change also counts towards illness and fatigue, lack of motivation, or health issues generally in the body, i.e. if we have stuck, stored trauma or emotions or beliefs inside of our body that have manifest themselves, that means that there's stuck emotions or traumas or limiting beliefs, any or all of the 3 or all of them mixed in your body still in that area. And the physical, right, i.e. the physical, the actual, the tangible, which represents illness in the body as well, is a symptom, right, or a manifestation of some pain, trauma, or emotions, right, trapped or stored emotions from that trauma in the body that has been undealt with for far too long, okay? And science is even catching up to this reality and showing that different diseases such as cancer, things such as even immune or autoimmune disorders are connected to either some emotion, right? They have an emotional frequency, or they're connected to some debilitating emotional event from the past around a specific type of emotion or emotional reality, okay? And this is well documented. It's in a lot of literature. It's in a lot of science and also a lot of books that you can read and educate yourselves on. But yes, the body holds the trauma. The body holds the emotion. The science of the body is the science of our reality. And so I hope that this video was helpful and informative for you. I appreciate you guys who decided to stay and watch this whole thing through. I appreciate it. And just so you guys know, there will be lots of things coming forward. I don't really know exactly what's going to come from here on out. I can promise, I could say the world and promise there's going to be a bunch of courses and this and that. And the truth is, I just don't know. I don't know where this content's going to take me. I don't know what it's going to mean for me personally or you or this channel. But I do know that this is where my body's at and what I chose and what I want to actively pursue. And I'll leave the rest up to you and the universe. All right. So thank you again so much for watching. I appreciate you. Hopefully you got something valuable out of this video. If you did, be sure to share it with some friends, leave a comment below, or just leave a like. I would really appreciate it. And let me know in the comments one thing that you took away from this video that you can use to help change your life and or change the lives of others around you. Thanks so much, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye for now.